And joining me today is the Chief Technologist and Enterprise Architect at Mapsys. Let's get to know DJ Singley.
Hey folks, I'm DJ Singley. I'm excited to be here with you today, and I want to thank you all for joining. Right, I've been here at Mapsys for about 15 years now. It's been a career into and of itself. I was previously at IBM, and I've been doing this AI thing since before COVID, which at this point seems like a long time. As an ex microprocessor design engineer and a seller here now at Mapsys and one who leads the business. I'm excited to explore all the AI can do for you and your business. So these sessions are a little bit different, right? We're calling this our masterclass. We had quite a bit of attendance the last time we did a session on AI, so much so that I couldn't possibly get to all the questions at the end. We are splitting this one up into 3 sessions, and this first session is really a primer to get you folks really interested in what we're doing and how to get started and why to even do this thing. The second 2 sessions, I think, will also give you a lot of interesting things to chew on, right? The next one, or perhaps the one after that, we haven't nailed it down yet, but we'll certainly, I think, be doing a demo on some of the software platforms we know and love in this space. And then also, we're considering bringing on a customer to give their opinions on what they've done in AI, how they got started, what's working, what's not, and how it all is coming together. So stay tuned for those. We'll announce the dates for those at the end of this session here and when you can expect them. So really excited to chat with you guys about how to build your strategy today that will exceed the competition. And I want to remind you all, the exceed the competition part is really why we're here, right? I think it's not too much to say, and if you haven't heard this before, let me be the first one to tell you this, that AI is probably the opportunity of a lifetime. Is that too big? Is that too much to say? I don't think so. At this point, I really don't. AI is the opportunity of a lifetime, and we're at the very beginning of this AI wave. So what you do now in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years could set the tone for your business for the next decade or two. In the last year or two, we went from looking at projects that were adding AI into it, what I would call plus AI, to now projects that are AI plus, meaning that they're more centered around the AI piece, and all the other peripheral pieces are, well, just that, peripheral. The AI is the star. And I think as time moves on, we'll continue to see it become more and more the star. But if you think you're too late in this journey, you're not. You know, we're all still getting going and figuring this stuff out. And I'd love to share my experiences with customers and the industry with you over the next half hour, 45 minutes, or whenever I get the the crow to get off the stage. So excited to be here.
Yay! Thank you so much, DJ, for that. So, in our first session, we'll explore how to build an AI strategy that exceeds your competition. So we invite you to engage in this discussion, which will last approximately 1 hour, followed by a Q&A session. You can post your questions or comments during the discussion in the Q&A chat at any time. We'll monitor and showcase some of the questions to spark the session further. A gentle reminder to please be respectful and appropriate with your questions and comments. Any inappropriate comments will be removed along with the attendees posting such comments. If you can stay for the full event, be sure to watch the replay and set up a meet and greet with our expert. And please expect a call from a member of our team in the next few days to gather your feedback, complete your voice verification, and set up your meet and greet if you want one. Now let's kick things off. Let's look at our first data set. So we ask about 154 business and technology decision maker to share their AI goals in 2025. And let's look at what they said. 39% of them shared its generative AI, while 23% of them stated it's predictive analytics, followed by 18% who stated it's conversational AI, 10% who said robotics and automation. Now, DJ, does this align with what you see out there? And how realistic are the most common AI related goals in companies today?
Yeah, yeah, no, this is very much what I would expect from the panels here. I the maybe save the quantum and machine learning part. What are you folks doing? The 6% of you out there, please give me a call. I'd like to understand what it is you're doing. Quantum computing certainly fascinates me, and we'll be getting into that quantum era in the coming decades for sure. So congratulations to you folks that are doing that. But before I sort of dive into each one of these little right here, I would like to just re reiterate when I view this AI, your AI plans for the future, and I think when you view them, I think it's important to say you want to be competitive against your competition, right? And I've certainly had a lot of conversations, and maybe some of you folks out there that I've had conversations with even recently about how you are implementing AI in your business. And there's some folks out there that are using pre-built applications and programs that from their favorite software vendors, whether it be Oracle, SAP, Manhattan Associates, whoever it may be. And their AI strategy is to adopt whatever their vendors are doing. And that is certainly an okay strategy, but I submit to you, all of you out there, that at that point, you're really just keeping up with the competition. All of you folks in those different business verticals, you're all using the same software packages. And if you're all doing the same thing, you all have really just kept up with the Joneses, which is great. Great, it's good, but you're really not using AI to its fullest. You're not doing anything that no one else is, and you're not getting a competitive advantage that no one else has. So that's what we're really talking about with this AI masterclass is using AI, using custom AIs to gain competitive advantage and do something different that no one else is doing out there in your space. So when I see the answers to these questions, generative AI, well, thank you for to ChatGPT. You really started this whole thing off in a good start with us all, and brought it to the forefront and of everyone's minds. Now, I would suspect that most folks out there are looking at chatbots, right? Whether it's Microsoft Copilot or actually ChatGPT and whatnot. I think that's really good. The Gen AI space is big though, right? It's not just chatbotting. It is implementing AIs in the middle of business processes and procedures. And in fact, that's probably the space that I've been playing with most recently is taking a business process, taking a business procedure, and inserting AI somewhere in the path to gain more value out of the entirety of the process. And so generative AI, very big piece. That's exactly where I would see it. When I look at the next part, predictive analytics, I think a lot of you folks, at least in mid-tier to upper tier enterprises, you've been doing analytics for a very long time, and this predictive analytics stuff that machine learning has been bringing with us in the last 5, 6, 8, 10 years even. It's no surprise. You're already doing that. You've been doing that. You're probably using commercial software packages, from Microsoft or IBM or whatnot to do that for a very long time. Conversational AI, again, I love it. I love the idea of ChatGPT and all the AIs that we know and love out there. I'm not surprised. It's a low-hanging fruit. It's a great way to just get your feet wet with AI, although I don't love it completely. There's a couple of problems with it, I think, that maybe I'll uncover during the next slide and we can talk more about it. I think it probably belongs on the next slide a little bit, that conversation. But let's put a little asterisk in that one. But as far as the rest here, yeah, it's a couple percentage points here and there, and I think you guys are all on the right track here with that. I will come back to the idea of when you implement AI for the first time. Trust me, folks. Trust me, trust me, trust me. Especially Gen AI. What you really want to do is keep the scope of your project as absolutely narrow as possible to make sure that you can see the benefits of your AI strategy come to life, and you're not going to be subject to scope creep. Scope creep will kill projects, especially AI related projects, when there's so much unknown and folks just really don't understand exactly what they're doing, why they're doing it, what is really going to be the benefits of it. Additionally, when working on a Gen AI product or project within your organization, it is of utmost importance to try to quantify the business benefits and the savings of using generative AI or any AI in general upfront. And listen, I know most of you are probably saying, "What? Of course, I'm going to do that." That is not the case in about half the conversations I have. Is AI is such a hot topic. They just want to do it. They're not exactly sure what they want to do or how it works, but they really don't understand what it might do for your business when it comes to saving you money or creating new revenue streams. And I think that is a topic that has to be explored right up front to decide, is this really something that you want to do? Because the cost aspect of AI is very real, and it's gonna cost you something, I promise. In fact, I'd probably say that most AI projects, you're looking at, and this is a very broad range here, and I'm not gonna give you an exact figure, but I'd say up to 80% of the total cost would be services. So that means that if you don't have folks internal to your organization, an AI center of competency or center of excellence, as it were, then, well, you'll need to lean on consultants, consultants from companies like myself or some, maybe the big four, Amazon, Google, IBM, Microsoft, to come in and teach you or do this stuff for you. Again, there's plenty of smart, capable software organizations out there to help you do all this. So, at any rate, I think that's a big thing that most companies really, or most folks that are looking at this really need to quantify first as they go down their AI journey. So, yeah, what do you think about Ella? I think that covers that for the most part. Um,
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for that wonderful insight, DJ. So, moving on to the next slide, we reach out to the same group, of business and technology decision makers to understand their main challenges to incorporate AI into their daily operations. Now, this is what we've gathered. 32% of them stated it's data confidentiality. 20% stated it's cost. 18% stated its security challenges, followed
mhm.
by 18% who says lack of understanding, 16% challenges managing AI projects. Now, DJ, what do you think about this data? And what do you think are the most common AI related roadblocks?
Yeah, this is a really good slide, and I think most of the folks here that answered the survey are right on the money. Listen, everyone, data is your company. Your company's entire value is locked up in your data. So how do you bring a generic AI and meld it with your data to provide business benefit? So about 5 years ago, six, something like that, at Stanford University, we came up with this concept of a foundational AI model. AI models can do lots of different things. They can do generative AI, they can do chatting, they can do image analysis, they can render videos, they can do something that creates new works, right? And there are all sorts of them. In fact, there's so many, and a lot of them are open source. They're almost innumerable now, and you can certainly look at some open source examples at huggingface.com, for example, and take a look at all the different foundational models out there. So the idea here is that we want to take foundational model and infuse it with your company's data. Think of the foundational model as kind of the base smarts of humanity, if you will, or at least in whatever that model was trained in. It could be, HR tasks. It could be process and procedure tasks. It can be widget assembly tasks, whatever it may be on your assembly line. And then you infuse your company's data in that model. Okay. And I'm talking about this so much because, listen, folks, this data is your company. It is why you are so valuable. You have to protect it. You have to keep it confidential. And um, I was just recently talking to another customer who started out with ChatGPT, and they really like it a lot. And they didn't realize they can opt out of using their inputs as training data for the next versions of ChatGPT. And they were a little horrified at that, right? Like, you mean this entire time I've been dumping my questions and some of my confidential data into ChatGPT, and they're going to use it for training? Hey, you got to be kidding me. Like, listen, that is not quite the AI that we're looking at here and developing. So, the data confidentiality is a big part. Data is your company. Got to keep it confidential. ChatGPT, Grok especially, they do not keep it confidential. When I'm talking about developing an AI model or using a foundational model, it's a private model. It only looks at your data. It's retrained on your data. That's one way of doing it. Or it uses other techniques to search your data externally. Okay. And those are two very popular methods of getting at or making your data more readily valuable to your organization through AI. So data confidentiality. You guys got it. I'm glad you're all thinking that because that's important. So for those that are thinking that, I hope you're looking at or thinking about private AI models, and you can run them on-prem in any of your favorite cloud hosting providers and even some of the smaller bespoke cloud hosting providers. So lots of choices here. It depends on the cost and complexity, which brings me now to the second one, which is cost, right? We talked about cost just a little bit here, but cost is probably the one that in typical conversations when we talk about cloud or infrastructure or services costs or services in general, right? Cost is a leading factor. But I feel like in most of the AI conversations, it doesn't come up until down the road a little bit. And I think that potentially could be a mistake, right? You want to make sure you understand what those costs are sort of upfront so you can weigh the benefits of doing the AI. What did it just save your business? To the cost that it cost your business to actually implement the AI. But don't forget, AI is a little bit of a different animal than most projects you folks have deployed before. Okay, and a lot of projects, right? You do the project, you put it into production, and then it may take a little bit of, I'll say, care and feeding for those projects to keep them alive and keep them well. AI could potentially be a lot different. The care and feeding of the AI could be a lot more in that cost column. Listen, AIs typically will age themselves out of usefulness, depending on how your data has changed or how they have access to your data, or how we implement and build the AI applications. So there, you have to understand also what the ongoing cost of running an AI in an application will be over time. Not just the first year, because that's going to be the big one when you put it together, but the second year and the third year. And but here's the thing. I promise you, once you get rolling with AI and you have a successful project, and again, the key to a successful project is keeping that scope as narrow as possible. Once you get rolling and you have a successful project, more of these AI ideas will come out of the woodwork in your company. You're going to want to do more. I promise you. It's the way it always works. And if it didn't work that way, I'd be shocked because it's like a little bit of a gateway drug in that respect, right? You bring something in, it works really well. You figure out how to use it, you figure out how to care and feed it, and now you realize there's a whole lot of other places I could use that. And to that end, before I go into the next couple of ones here, I would like to just mention that a great way to get started with AI is to take a look at the lines of business in your organization and go talk to those people that are actually doing the work in those particular lines of business and seeing where their problem statements are. I know that sounds maybe kind of obvious, but go to the folks that are actually using your IT um, stuff, right, within your organization and ask them, what are your problems? Where are you falling down? And I'm not suggesting that absolutely every single problem can be solved with AI. It certainly can't, but a lot of problems now can be solved with AI, or at least enhanced with AI. Once you have a good problem statement, at that point, we can do something. And I think a lot of you folks know where I'm going with this because I love this methodology. It's a very good one, and it really produces results for our customers and us rather. And that is a design thinking session, right? So what is design thinking, right? Well, we all get in a room, we talk about uh, it's not just me, this is a methodology that lots of other consultants use. We say, hey, listen, where could we infuse AI in this particular problem statement? Is it feasible? a bunch of architects are sitting there with stakeholders of your enterprise as well, and we say, listen, where is this going to go? How can we do this? And at the end of the design thinking session, we'll have enough of what we want to do with AI hammered out, and enough of the economics explored to say, yes, what do we do next? Do we continue to talk about this? Do we roll into a proof of concept? And that's when AI really becomes real for most customers, I think. So, additionally, in those design thinking sessions, the next highest ranking topic here comes into play, and that is the security challenges of using AI and doing anything with AI. There's this concept in AI called governance, and there's a lot of little niche players out there, little small software companies and consulting companies that have come up that really tackle little parts of the governance platform. And governance is a wide-ranging term. We could probably spend an hour talking about all the ways to govern it. But let me give you a quick rundown of what governance could look like, because security is a big deal when it comes to governance, right? So first off, governance certainly applies to the care and feeding and the life cycle of a model. These models have life cycles. They need to be born, they need to be tested, they need to be QA, they need to be put into production, they need to be monitored, making sure that they both are being used in the correct fashion and providing good results to the users. It doesn't mean they're going to be flawless. It is AI after all. There are going to be mistakes every once in a while, but they have good results. And also, users can't exploit these models. What that means is that they can't dig for information about these models. Perhaps they were trained on personally identifiable information that they should not have been, like social security numbers or credit card information or something like that. Users should not be able to dig out that information by doing clever prompt engineering. That would be bad, right? So that's also part of governance. But governance then goes much farther down the rabbit hole, and we could talk about that when we get there, and certainly in future sessions, et cetera. But so the security challenges are very real. I think it's also interesting that at 18%, also the lack of understanding, because listen, you are all sitting here in this webinar trying to get a better understanding of what AI is, how AI works, and probably most importantly, how do I get started with AI? Listen, folks, I've interfaced with a lot of different companies out there that are on all various spectrums on the AI journey, from the ones that are just starting, just trying to identify a budget, just trying to identify where in the heck in the organization they could put something. I've talked with lots of folks that are very happy with Microsoft Copilot, which is, again, a wonderful place to start as well. And they want to continue that path, but they're also looking at more interesting ways that are using AI. So again, that's great. I've talked to customers that the board, rather senior board, right, says down to the folks in the company, hey, listen, we want to see where we have AI. Are we running AI? Are we at the forefront of technology? Can we report to our shareholders that we're an AI optimized company, enterprise? And that's when the IT organization comes back and says, look, here are all the programs, here are all the applications that are using AI. Look, we have AI on board. Yes, you do. But you're, again, not keeping up with the Joneses, or rather, you are just keeping up with the Joneses. You're just not exceeding what the Joneses next door are going to be doing next when they have their custom AIs and they're offering a product that you just can't match. So listen, it's the understanding piece, I get it. And the best way I can tell you to get over that understanding piece is to talk to folks like myself, talk to and attend more of these webinars and do as much reading as possible. Because like cloud was 10 or 15 years ago, AI is sort of at this nascent stage right now. There's a lot of folks trying to decide or decipher how to get into it the best way they can. And I'm telling you, just eat as much information as you possibly can going forward, trying to understand this stuff. Let's see, anything else here that would be interesting, Ella? I think we talk about challenges, managing AI projects. I get that. AI
Mhm.
transparency. I'll just say one quick thing about AI transparency. I know I'm getting long long and winded here, but this came up during our last webinar in that on occasion we actually design models to model models. Wait, what? What do you do? Yeah, that's right. So sometimes we actually have smaller models to explain away the results of a bigger model, right? And the folks on the last webinar asked me a very interesting question, and I hope I did a great job explaining it, the answer, or at least my opinion of the answer. And that was about using AIs in college admission projects or prospects rather. And listen, these are big, complex AIs that come up with these results. And as part of a government's package for those AIs, you should have a way of explaining the results, right? How did the AI come to that result? Because you are entitled to that understanding, right? Let's see, anything else here? Complexity of AI models. I think that's getting less and less, and I think
Yeah.
the folks here identify that. So great. What do you think, Ellen?
Thank you. Oh, I love the insights that you provided on this slide. It's really fruitful for me and for sure for everyone else on this session. So let's move on and let's look at our last data set here.
Sure.
All right. So for our last data set, we collected insights from business and technical decision makers, to determine which areas, you know, they plan to implement AI solution in over the next 12 months. And here's what they said. 28% stated it'll be on customer service. 28% same percentage, stated it's customer experience. 21% stated security assessment, threat detection, followed by 21%, another 20% that's focused on predictive analytics. Now, DJ, what are your thoughts about these statistics? And in which departments will you get the greatest ROI on AI investments?
Awesome. This is great. I think the crew here that are on the phone with us, they understand what is going on with AI because that's basically 60%. I kind of lump those both in the same category a lot of ways when I talk to customers. 60% of you are really looking for what I'd call the low-hanging fruit and the customer experience, the customer service reps that have to deal with customers every day. I should say have to. I should say get to deal with customers every day. This is exactly the low-hanging fruit that I think most folks are really looking for. Um, I love that. I love that you guys are looking at that. I think that's exactly where you need to go. You are going to one of the lines of business, the customer service center, and saying, how can I make you more effective? How can I get you off the phone faster? How can I make you have a better experience with the customer by giving the customer what they need faster, the service that they want faster, the information, fixing their problems faster? And they can do that all with an AI. And a lot of it is a conversational AI. So a chat bot style of AI. And again, a private one that's infused with your data. So it understands what customer records are. It understands what your SKUs are. It understands what you're selling in your business and what we're all sorts of services that you may offer because it's been infused with your data in such a way. Right. So I think that's perfect. You guys are right on the money when it comes to that. And I think that's really, really great. Again, I would say to get the easiest way to get started, and then what I've seen with this is especially in the customer experience part and the customer service part, is that there's a lot of I shouldn't say smaller, but they're certainly smaller than the big three or four. Um, Large AI companies, right? Google's, IBM's, and Microsoft's of the world, right?
Mhm.
Um, but a lot of you would get started with a point solution, and that's not a bad way of doing it. But I would just caution you in one instance here is that largely these point solutions are exactly that. They bring in AI, they get you kind of started, but they're really only good for that one chatbot that works for with customer service and IT. And potentially, you should broaden your scopes a little bit. And I'm not saying not to do it, but I am saying just to look at what the broader scope would be. Potentially, that broader scope, the other tools that are out there from other vendors could actually help you with that point solution, that customer service solution, that customer experience solution. So just make sure that you are looking at all of the solutions at the same time and getting, I think making sure that it's the right solution for you and your business. Because again, once you got something with AI infused in it and it's working well and it's providing good ROI for you and your business, I promise you, this is a gateway drug. You're going to want to do more projects with AI. And typically, the point solutions teach you how to do something, model life cycle, no governance. I've seen that a lot, unfortunately, although we can add governance typically after the fact. Teach you how to do it one way, where all these other AI projects that are coming in the door will probably go a different way when it when it comes to that. So but listen, you guys are on the right track there. Let's see a couple other things here. The security and threat detection. I love that. I personally haven't seen a lot of that in my travels here. I've heard some anecdotal evidence from some folks that I have been talking with that they've heard of, big projects with Google or IBM that they kick off and they use AI for a big data center threat detection thing. And listen, I would love to be involved with that, but I just wasn't. I've heard of them. I just haven't done anything with threat detection. I typically deploy point products in the security portfolio, which are a lot of to do anything to do with security. Predictive analytics, you folks are doing a lot of stuff there. Um, Recruitment and interviewing, that is really interesting to me. I just picked that out because I've been talking with a recruiting company that is looking to do something with that and really infuse their own application with that. So good for them. And I think they're going down the right path. So yeah, I think it's pretty great. So I like this slide a lot. This was a lot of good a lot of good ROI thoughts from you folks. It matches my own.
Perfect. Thank you, DJ. Um, I actually wanted to I wanted to share a question from the audience.
Sure.
ROI in customer service, is it to remove reps?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's the one question I don't want to answer. I'm kidding. No, it is not to remove reps. This is not agentless AI. Agentless AI. That's a kind of a weird thing to say. Agentless. Uh,
Mhm.
However you want to say it. This is not to remove reps. No, this is not an AI making decisions without a human uh, talking with the customer. This is only AI to augment a human and make them um, more productive ultimately. However, you measure production in those customer service roles. And again, a lot of it when I talk to folks on these low-hanging fruit on the AI ladder, they look at call centers, right? So how do you make a call center more productive? Well, you need to get the folks on and off the phone as fast as possible. That's what they typically talked about. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just what they typically measure on. So that's a great way to infuse AI. They get their answers because I type it into a chatbot, they get the answers to the customer faster, and then they're off the phone and on to the next phone call. So that's one way of doing it. But they also, a lot of these phone centers have customer service questionnaires at the end of your visit. And you'd be surprised. A lot of folks take those questionnaires and answer them. And, mostly when people are mad, they answer them, right? So they can very easily tell, did AI help me from when I implemented it to when I didn't implement it? Well, yeah, you could see the results literally the next week. Did you have a lot less mad folks answering those questionnaires? So this is a very easy way to tell how how good your efforts were with AI in customer service. So I love the question. It's great. I do want to add one more thing because I think this is kind of a prescient topic, and that is one of my favorite tools. Right, I do a lot of IBM here, right? So one of my favorite tools, especially in AI, is Watson X. Although we certainly support other tools out there that are maybe a little less. I don't want to say heavy-handed, but maybe even a little less easier to use, more developer specific or centric, um, which we could talk about later when I do a demo with you folks. But I do want to talk about one thing, and one of my favorite um, 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 examples of an AI that worked really, really well is what IBM did with their own Ask HR application. And this is pretty neat. Okay. So in an HR organization, and remember, IBM is a giant company. I used to be an IBM or 300,000, 400,000 type, that's the type of number that we're talking about here with people working at the company. That's a lot of people that work for IBM, right? And when they have an HR question, they have to call an HR partner and they have to ask that question. It's a very big company, very complicated, lots of different answers. IBM rolled out an AI application called Ask HR. And This allowed the HR department, to your point, to reassign some of these HR resources to other places. Now, in this particular case, I suspect IBM was so big, maybe some of those people um, found places outside of the company, right? But Ask AI HR is an amazing application. You're able to sit there and you're able to say, "Hey, listen, I want to create my vacation from this date to this date, turn my out of office on, alert my teammates, and tell my manager." Done. Does it all. Hey, Ask HR, I signed a confidential agreement when I first started with the company. I don't remember what it is. Can you show me the agreement? Bam, right there. You know how long that would take a HR partner to do all of those type of things? Hey, Ask HR, I want to know what my 401k options are. Do I still have a pension? How do I access it? What is my username and password? Reset my password for me. It does all that type of stuff. So a wonderful use of AI, and it was certainly a low-hanging fruit, at least for a company as big and as complex as IBM, a very low-hanging fruit. So okay, so that hopefully that answers your question. Again, long-winded, but there's so much to this technology. I'm very passionate about it. I think there's so much what we all can do with AI to make our companies work better and be better places. And I think that it can ultimately enhance the way you work and not detract from it, right? And there is um, I'm surprised I don't see it here. I think it was on a previous chart, and I just remembered it, and that is doing code development with AI tools, right? I think
Yeah.
we have a large code development organization here at Mapsys, about 45 full-time employees and a bunch of contractors that do a lot of code development. And even those folks are starting to use AIs to do that now. Now, again, of
Mhm.
course, I would say, listen, a lot of code is proprietary. You don't want to be putting in your company secrets that are all wrapped up in your old COBOL code, or I'm kidding. Maybe it's COBOL, maybe it's RPG. We do a lot of that. So maybe I'm not kidding that much. But you don't want to be typing all that in to ChatGPT or Grok because it's going to start training their models on all your company secrets. That's not great. What you want is your own private AIs to help you with code development. And there's certainly lots of options out there to do that. And I think that's becoming much more important as time rolls on. And actually, to give you another really great example is, listen, our company does a lot of COBOL and RPG. You're probably thinking, what is that? Well, that's exactly what new college grads say. What is COBOL and RPG? It probably takes us, on average, 6 to 8 weeks to make a new COBOL RPG programmer from a college grad and make them really competent. That's not a long time, really, it's not. But when they can sit there with an AI that helps them not only do code completion, but searches for how to do things, right? It's better than doing a search engine and looking at weird web pages that now you have to decipher what they actually mean. The AI can help you with searches. But then you can also do chat specific AI tasks, which is the most interesting thing. AI, here's my code. What do you think of it? What could I do better? How do I add this function to this code? That's the kind of methodology that we're teaching our coders here at Mapsys, and all the large shops are starting to do now with code development. So another place that I think is really, really, really optimal is code development. Again, we're not getting rid of people to do code development. We are just making them much more productive. I think they can accomplish tasks much faster than they typically would be able to without an AI helping them out. So, okay, super long-winded answer. Don't let me do that
Agreed.
again.
No, no, I actually love the way you answer that question because it will enlighten everyone on this call and, our audiences that AI is not going to replace, customer service or reps, right? It's there to help them be more productive, give them, augment technically. So I love how you answered. So thank you so
Great,
much,
great.
DJ, for that.